Let me all right, well, let me introduce Sonja. Sonja Gardenswartz began practice of Zen meditation in 1981 and came to San Francisco Zen Center in 1991. Since then, she has practiced continuously at Green Gulch Farm and Tassajara Zen Mountain Center. During her years at Tassajara and Green Gulch, she practiced as work leader, guest student manager, Shika, guest host, and Tenzo, head cook, and assistant to senior Dharma teacher Tenshin Reb Anderson. She received the precepts in 1995 and was ordained as a Soto Zen priest by Tenshin Reb Anderson in 2012. She recently retired from Zen Center and is living in Healdsburg in the Zen-inspired senior living community. And so tonight's meditation will be Zen Buddhism.
Well, thank you all for coming. Thank you, Lynn. I really appreciate the invitation. And I was looking up, one of my challenges is I don't have so much time, but I was looking up the mission and some of the statements about Marin Interfaith. I was thinking about the Marin Interfaith mission. And recently I heard, and I don't know if I'm going to say this exactly correctly, this is the 60th anniversary of something called Nostra Aetate. Do we know what this is? No. Well, it was 1965, and it was put forth by Pope Paul VI. And the Nostra Aetate, I don't have any Latin background, maybe one of you can help me, affirms that all people are created by God, or I would say whatever you call creation, and are spiritual brothers and sisters, and with the intention to preserve and promote the good, the spiritual values, moral aspects found in other faiths, rejecting discrimination and anti-Semitism, while emphasizing shared moral values and worship in other traditions, noting the differences in their teaching. So I love that whole interfaith thing and the shared values and the shared worship traditions. And he also said, which I considered with Marin Interfaith, is that if you want peace, work for justice. And the world in which we live needs beauty and order so we don't sink into despair. So I really feel our meditation or our various practices in Zen, as there's a strong tradition around the Zen precepts, ethical behavior, and then of course there's the 10 Commandments. And so real faith traditions really have these structures of which help give us a guide, in the waters. So I realized that, and Lynn reminded me that we don't have too much time with each other as we gather to remember that we're alone, but in this together on our little Zoom tiles. But here we are together. And that remembering that what we put out into the world, I'm working tonight around intention, really registering your intention. What is it where is it? How and where and what is it that matters to you? And remembering that what we put out into the world actually matters. And in the title, I said, sitting is not just sitting, or is not sitting, which is that we take this opportunity to sit together because we're little supports for each other to show up and remember, register and digest what it is that matters, so that when we get up and start moving, that which has perfumed our consciousness actually comes out in the gestures and in the speech and how we move. So the other point I made, which is a little unusual, when I said, let's see, how to put it, to love, love the world and all that's in it. So really digesting this word love, because we can kind of get confused about that with Valentine's Day and people that we think we possess or that possess us. But if I really drop into it, if you're in love, there's kind of an openness in your heart and a willingness to give and to hear and to listen and to be responsive to what's happening. And I have tonight, what I want to say is that through that intention, or through what's our grounding, is where that love or dedication or commitment can come through. So I thought it would be helpful. Oh, we'll get this at the beginning. So intention. I've been listening to Robert Bly recently, and he was a translator of Rumi. And one of the end of one of his poems, I feel, is really germane to clarifying our mind. And he says, even if you eat my poems, I'm going to say my words, our words, even if you eat my poems while they're still fresh, you still have to bring forward many images yourself. Actually, my friend, what you're eating is your own imagination. So actually, friend, what you're eating is your own imagination. And owning that, knowing that it's our imagination, and then how we can open to another view, to other practices or others. So remembering it comes through sitting. And I wanted to do, see how we did on time. I wanted to kind of perfume, so to say, some questions and see if you notice if any of the particular words, language, or ideas register for you in this moment of clarifying, to try and sit and be really quiet and still. No, I didn't freeze. To be really, hi, Barbara. To really to sit still and be really quiet. You can have something fresh come through. And I was trying this out with Lynn to see if this will work. I'm going to try it now. What is it? We have a certain kind of architecture and structure in our mind, but when you get quiet and still, maybe something can come through. And many years ago, I took this photograph, which is going to be kind of blurry, I know, but you'll get the idea. So this was a friend of mine moved from Glen Ellen, and she had a really lush, beautiful garden. So much green, so many flowers. And then she moved, I think, to Emeryville or Benicia. And this was her backyard. She had this concrete patio. I know you can't see it clearly. And above the fence is Bart. So it was noisy and there was concrete. But in the middle of this concrete, or this flagstone patio, there were some cracks. And in this crack came this one flower. it was just so touching to me. So I think that when we sit really quiet and really still, if you can find that still point in you in this noisy world, that you might find something fresh and something bloom surprisingly that comes up in your consciousness. So I would like to just read some questions. I was asking myself this idea of what matters and where you might want to, excuse me for saying, throw your love into digesting or understanding, and see if any of them work for you, or some of them work, or you might make a calendar of them. So these are some questions that I put together and that I've heard from others. What is the ground of your life? What is your center? How do I care for this ground or this center? What am I here for? How do I weather the storms, and what resources me in meeting difficulty, miscommunicating, different points of views? How to take care of the limitations of what I can do? What sustains me to access compassion and wisdom? How do I or can I release my mind into my physicality, into my intention? Can I make the sitting that we're about to enter be my mind? How can what supports do I need so that I can remember this sitting thing that we do as a forever remembrance, a forever meditation? So these are just prompts, little words, remembering your intention, letting something register for you. And an idea I have is that you would, whatever you settle on for tonight, is that you, however you sit, in Zen, there's this mudra that looks like kind of like a seal, and it rests at your belly. But some people sit like this, with their fingertips touching, or just hands open, or on their knees. But let your intention or your mind rest in your non-dominant hand. See if you can feel that, because I've just been practicing with that and noticing how that hand is actually I find, but let me see what you find, is a support for my big hand that's doing things, my right hand. So those are just some suggestions to find this place of sitting. It's kind of an art, which whether you practice music or art or theater or writing, is something you keep refining over and over again. So I want to say one more thing, and then I'm going to ring the bell. And that is to return to breath. And as you breathe, as you let go of the breath, so sitting upright, so this is opening the chest. As you let go of the breath, rest in the space of letting go. Don't take the next breath. Just see what comes. Is it a long breath? Is it a short breath? But just rest in space. And then allow the next breath to come. So I might say that once more in the middle, but I'm going to ring the bell now. Ring once for us to begin. And then I'll ring it again in about 25 minutes. Does that work for everybody? Okay, any questions? Okay, I have this beautiful bell. Let's see if it comes through. Can you hear that? Oh. I'll try again. resting in the exhale. One knows if it's a long breath or a short breath. There's power in imagination and how it shapes our perception. Did that bell come through? Great. I just noticed I could kind of, almost what came to my mind is I could just weep for joy sitting with all of you and being with these Marin interfaithers. And just so many, and the other part of it is just this realization, my saying, you know, our time is so short. There's so many things I would like to say or would like to have said, but the time is so short. And really, that's our life. It's so short. Even if you live to be 100, it's kind of so short. So, and our vitality, what's available to us. And so really finding that place where we want to gift what we can, you know, this art of transmitting. You know, if people are walking around with an angry face, there's a transmission that's happening there. And if you're walking around kind of open or available, that's another kind of transmission. So I know we're going to maybe have some sharing if people are up for that. To think maybe the one thing I would say is, you know, this power of imagination and how our thinking shapes how we use our hands and our bodies in the world, and how we meet what's happening is not to be, somebody would say, not to be taken lightly. So, yeah. Anyway, maybe people would share if anything registered for them, or how that I had a different experience tonight of what that was, letting an intention rest in my non-dominant hand. And I don't know if that registered for anybody else, but I think Lynn is going to take us off recording, and maybe people can share